evening.
No.
All right, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Young Adults. I'm Pastor Tyler. This is Tania. And our lovely host,
Hi.
Zino.
Hello. To be honest, I kept picturing sitting there with you guys, but here I am in front. But yeah, that's okay.
Next time.
Anyways, I'm very grateful that you're all here. I'm very excited because I've been, besides Marissa and Daniel, I keep thinking to myself, oh, there's no young people around me. But yeah, I'm really excited that you all got the time to be here. And yes, so because I know that we don't really know each other well, I know some of you, but not all of you, so I thought of a quick activity. We will not be jumping around, so don't worry about it. It's just a mental activity. Okay, so if you were to open the Bible and if you could talk to any character in the Bible, besides Jesus and God, please.
And no cheating.
Yeah.
What about the Holy Spirit?
He's God.
He's part of the
So
Trinity.
none of them. Okay, besides any of the three of them, or one of them, who would you talk to? And tell me why. I can start. Then we'll go this way. Alright? I would talk to David because I've been really thinking about worship, and I just want to know what would get into his head that would make him be naked.
In the streets.
Yeah, I would really want to understand that. Or the woman with the alabaster jar. And I would like to talk to her too. Yes.
Okay, I would want to talk to Deborah. I just finished reading Judges, and there's so little information about those people, and Deborah being a woman that stepped in because the men wouldn't step up, I'd like to talk to her.
Nice. Paul, for sure. Paul or Peter. Both of them because they like to get their foot in their mouths on a regular basis. And I'd really like to know how they overcame some of their trials and their mistakes, especially Peter. Really like to know what happened in between weeping outside after the rooster crows and being cold and refreshed.
Yeah.
You know, like what was going through you that kept your heart in such a pure way that you could be redeemed like that, even after such a big mistake. Because the interesting part about him is you have Judas and you have Peter, and they both make a terrible mistake. Judas deals with it on his own and goes and hangs himself. Peter sits around waiting for the redemption. How did that happen? And I'd love to know how that happened.
I don't know. I would talk to Ruth, I guess. How she got out of the, her trials and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I can relate. So that's what I would talk to.
That's awesome.
Oh boy, I've been thinking really hard this whole time, and
No pressure, no pressure.
well, I really like I think I would want to talk to Zechariah. But the book of Zechariah, it's Ezekiel. I would want to talk to Ezekiel.
Oh, yes.
Because in the book of Ezekiel, he's a prophet, I believe. I don't know for sure. That's a lot of pressure. But yeah, because
He's a prophet.
he has dreams and visions, Ezekiel, and that's something that I identify with. Dreams and visions, and I would want to know, how is he able to steward that so well and write that down, and the throne room, and it's just the throne room is very, very close to my would like to know more about it.
I think, or I'm Kylie, and I think I would like to talk to David as well. I guess I've been going through the Psalms, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So it'd be cool to like talk to the guy who wrote it.
Probably the prodigal son's brother. So the non-prodigal son. Because we hear about the dad and we hear about the son who left, but like you don't actually get much from the perspective of the prodigal son's brother.
Older brother.
You can't say Daniel.
I disagree. I don't know. There's so
You guys
many.
guys have your names too.
Oh, yeah.
I told your names.
I remember that too.
I know she said.
It's okay. We'll do it at snack.
Alright.
I'm Daniel. This is Marissa. I have to say Moses.
Mhm.
I have some questions for him. More curious why he threw it all away for nothing. When he broke that rock and he lost sight for those like 0.2 seconds that kind of like destroyed his entire leadership. Well, not one mistake.
I'm Vincent, and I was also going to say Moses.
You still can.
Yep, and I'm going to.
You can also say Daniel.
But I'd say just his journey. Like even just before he was leader of the Israelites, that was still 80 years. And like through each of his, I could say sections of his life, like just what he was thinking, like when it comes to just what he thought of himself, what he thought his future might entail, and specifically how he handled the very rebellious hundreds of thousands of Israelites for 40 years.
Well, and then ends up being rebellious himself.
Yeah. It's a lot of people.
It is.
I'm Mervyn. For me, it'd have to be either Job or Jeremiah. Trying to navigate life going through loss of everything and rebuilding that. And then watching an entire nation lose everything at the same point. And just relying on God to lead you through it when no one else is listening to you or doing what God wants them to.
Yeah. Thank you all for sharing. I've kind of, just from hearing what you said, now I kind of know what's going on in your lives. And what parts of the Bible contribute. The heart behind our meeting is having honest conversations. If you can remember, if you read the email or if you received it at all, we were saying we want to have a time together where we can all share and see what's going on in our hearts. And yeah, we do have a theme we want to discuss, it's purity, but that being said, if other things come up and other things are going on in your hearts, that's what we're gonna go for. And yeah, that's why we're excited to have Pastor Tyler here and Tania. Being young adults, we have the opportunity to look to people who have experience, people who walk through life, and yeah, they've seen things we haven't seen. And so we can, yeah, pull from your wisdom. And that's what we plan on doing today. All right.
She's gonna be wise.
Yeah, no, she's my mentor, by the way. She's wise. Okay. So, Also, I will be asking questions. You can ask questions too. Don't feel like like anything in your head, feel free to direct it at them. Feel free to question someone else's thoughts. It's okay. We don't need to have all the answers. It's why they're here. And they may not have all the answers for people. So I've got the Holy Spirit.
Just make sure you ask Tania all the hard questions. Ask Pastor Tyler all the easy questions, then I'll look at it.
And I wanna say too, we kept this vague, like purity. We kept that vague. So there are 9 young adults, 8 young adults. There could be 8 different thought processes, perspectives, whatever. That word will bring to mind something different for you guys. And we intentionally kept it vague. So there's no right or wrong. Well, what do they mean by this? Does my question gonna fit in? We're not thinking about that at all. Intentionally vague, so that everybody can join in, and we wanna know what you guys are thinking about.
Yeah. What you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, now when you hear the word purity, I'm sorry, I may directly call your name. So, when you hear the word purity, that doesn't help. What comes to mind? At least for me, when I hear the word purity, in my head it's always sexual. Why? Maybe because that's the way it's always been told to me. But what do you guys think when you hear purity? Ribbit.
Oh boy.
Okay, speak now or
Yeah.
be told to.
Alright. When I hear the word purity, from worldly perspective, I always think of the sexual aspect, but then purity also, like, now as a Christian, it kind of refers more to purity as a lifestyle instead of a thing, where, like, you aren't like everybody else, but you're living a godly life that remains pure and not corrupt by the world.
I think when I was looking into the Hebrew word for purity, the word for pure, it means to be ceremonially clean, free from defilement, holy and sacred. And Kara, in addition to what he said, now when they say purity, it means to be pure and to live with real integrity. And
What's integrity?
And now, even in that definition, it says even on the inside. So I think it really ties to integrity. I think what we define integrity as is doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time. But when I think of integrity, besides that definition, I think of a morally sound person. Morally sound character. Is that far from the right answer?
I think that the key of integrity is that even when no one is looking.
Mm.
Doing the right thing even when no one is looking, that's
Yeah.
integrity. Yeah, I think that's the key of it.
Or at the very least, you're not doing it so that the people watching are the ones that are happy about it.
Yeah.
You know, your motives are pure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can kind of play that off where Jesus said, don't let the right hand know what the left hand's doing. And don't, like, if you give in secret, don't give in public where everybody will see, because then that's your reward.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I've asked students that sometimes when they get a bit like trying to prove themselves. Hey, Pastor Tyler, you'll never guess what I just did. Before you tell me, let me ask you one question first. Do you want your reward now or in heaven? Or I want it in heaven. Are you sure you want to tell me? Because if you start boasting about yourself and all the things you did for Jesus right now in front of me and I give you credit, you got your credit. Do you want it from me or from him? You know what? I think I'm going to hold off.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm proud of you, though. I'm proud of you, whatever it was. So good job. And that's what he's talking about. Do these things because disagree or
No, I agree.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, you don't,
it's just like
it doesn't always
it's like,
lie.
no.
Thinking of something else. Yeah, I just wonder what is so alluring about people's praise on earth that will make us to sound a horn or whatever when we're doing something good. It's like, am I being good for the right reasons? Am I being good because I want to love my neighbor? Or I'm being good because I want to feel good about myself? It's like,
I think it's all of the above. I think what we gotta recognize is when we don't understand how much he loves us, when we don't understand how good we are already, when we don't understand or trust the things that Jesus says over us, we go looking for that affirmation somewhere else.
Yeah.
And because we've been groomed to think that everything done in public is where you get your praise, then we try to be noticed in public. Because that's actually been our grooming.
Yeah.
Based on social media and those kind of things. So we look for it in the worldly mindset of likes. How many people like this? You know, how many people watched this? How many people shared this?
yeah.
Well, and like allure, as soon as you use the word allure, what's alluring about it? It's been playing over in my head, and it's this. It's a trick to want people's praise. It's actually a trick of the world to want people's praise, because that's going to drive us one way or another. Drives us to work harder, drives us to produce more, drives us to spend more, it drives us to do all of these things, or it drives us into a space of just failure.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is, that word is very interesting when you use it in that way, because it's such a trick to seek human praise. Being in our space, I'm gonna say our space, pre-internet, pre all of these things, it wasn't the same world that we're living in now, but back then, it had, it's always been, what do I have, how do I get the praise, how do I get the praise, how do I get the recognition, how do I,
Yeah,
look, I got an A on my test, or,
our day was Mondetta. And if you had a
Oh,
Mondetta
yes.
sweater,
yeah,
Oh, what?
you were Mondetta sweater.
What
Yeah.
is that?
It's a brand, but when
it's still around.
when you're 80s and 90s, like only rich people had them. They were like full on embroidery.
Mm-hmm.
They had like full on embroidered Canadian flags, and it would say Mondetta under it. or
Well, and it was
whatever.
all different countries of the world.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I got a United Nations one,
Mm.
and that was the only thing I got for Christmas that year.
Yeah.
Because
would've
it was the only thing that, like,
Yeah.
I wanted one so badly. It was the only thing my mom could afford. And that was what I got for Christmas that year. Was a Mondetta sweater to be in.
Yeah.
And Club Monaco sweaters.
Oh yeah.
Club Monaco sweaters that you
Yeah.
wear inside out. Literally went and spent like $80 on a sweater with a big logo on it to wear it inside out.
What's actually funny about you mentioning some of that stuff, especially in like purity, like in the Greek it means that, right? Like when it's talking about being pure and impure, it's talking about cleanliness. But one of the things it says in Titus, to the pure all things are pure.
Mhm.
And so it's Titus 1:15, to the pure all things are pure. And it said, and this means to be clean, but it kind of goes deeper in the Greek. It means this: to be free from admixture or adhesion of anything that soils or corrupts. It's like to be without corruption. It's to be without being mixed up in things that corrupt you. That's what it literally means to be pure. And when you're not mixed up in corruption, everything's pure for you. Because it can't corrupt you. And so purity looks like more like the hard shell of something than it does anything else. I live in such a way that the world doesn't corrupt me.
So then it kind of turns into water and oil.
Yeah. It just doesn't mix with me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's a thing that we say with the students here, and it's up there on the wall. I'm too powerful and free, a son or a daughter, to behave like that. It's beneath me. You start understanding who you are in Christ. Some of these things aren't about right and wrong anymore. It just becomes about it's beneath me. Right? Like, how many of you this week searched garbage cans for food? Like, you just were like, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm in for a treat. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to go to a local garbage can, and I'm going to treat myself out of the garbage. How many of you are disgusted by me saying that?
I'm just confused that you'd say that.
Why?
Because I've known you for a year and
No,
you don't do
but
that.
I know, but like think about why is that a problem?
That's generally not where you go to treat yourself.
No, I know, but why would that be a problem?
That's his garbage.
Because it's beneath you.
Because it's beneath me. Nobody would willingly go do that. Like, that would be, you'd have to be in a space and a place where, out of desperation, to do that. You wouldn't do that when you understood who you were. You'd be like, I'll do anything but that. When you start understanding who you are in Christ, that's what those impurities start looking like. It's just beneath me. I'll do anything but that. And then nobody needs to give you laws and rules that you have to follow. That's that character piece even you're saying about Anna. Like, that's the character piece of all these decisions, not the flash. You can't follow this to find purity in terms of a law book. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. When I think of purity, I think of, well, I know what purity, I wrote it down earlier today as I was just kind of thinking. So like, what is purity? Well, when something is pure, it's untainted. Other things say unstained, without stain, unblemished, innocent of evil. I was thinking out loud, I was like, we're made pure by the blood of Jesus, and in Christ we're pure. Because other than that, we can't be pure. But one of the things that immediately stuck out to me, and I just flipped to it now, is a big thing that stains you, basically. On the inside is what you look at. And it's what you allow yourself to see. And that's a big one, and it even says here, Matthew 6:22. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. And full of light, like, I think of pure.
Yeah.
You know, nothing else in there, it's just light, pure. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? And it goes on to say, in 24, verse 24, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. It's talking about money, but I believe it also implies to other things as well.
And how many people despise the way of the Lord because of what they would have to give up,
Yeah.
right? Oh man, you're telling me I can't shoot zombies? Seriously? But I really want to. Like, I really want to. I want to devote myself to like 3-4 hours of this every day. And then you start despising the ways of the Lord. You start despising Him. He's just withholding. He's withholding good things from you. But what He's really trying to withhold from you is darkness and death.
But I think too, I mean, something that we talk about out here a lot of times is the mixed up message. Is that the way that that's presented sometimes about all the things that you have to give up instead of what you're gaining. So we talk all the time about not focusing on what you're giving up, but focus on where you're going. Just focus on where you're going and the other things will fall away. It's not a matter of like, okay, let's just go through my house and rip everything out that whatever.
Go looking for darkness.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Like, you don't need to go looking for darkness, go looking for light. Looking for light, and that'll clean up. Yeah. As I was thinking about purity, I'm thinking about like my gospel story, not my testimony, my gospel story, and thinking about where I came from to where I am. And sitting for a portion of my life thinking that I could never be pure because of all the decisions that I've made. In
How
my
many,
life.
how many people feel like that? Like maybe purity is just like
I felt like that.
like a great wish. Like I wish that was true, but I just can't see it for me. It's true. And the problem is religion teaches us that. Religion teaches us, our students are reading a book called Jesus Plus Nothing Equals Salvation. And the thing that it talks about is how the gospel has become this Trojan horse. Everybody familiar with the Trojan horse? Okay. And so basically it looks like one thing, but on the inside is something totally different. And so what the gospel message looks like is it looks like we're saved by grace. Like you did nothing. Everybody knows that, right? You did nothing to be saved, right? But where the Trojan horse comes in is, but now that you're saved, here's the rule book.
Yeah.
And you need to stay saved by works. So it's like grace and works, not just grace. His grace was enough to save you, but his grace isn't powerful enough to keep you saved. And that's not the message of the gospel. The grace of God is power unto salvation. Like, salvation isn't a conversion. Salvation is a forever thing. Anybody disagree? You guys got quiet there for a second. I'm trying to get too heavy on Hannah.
I would say like a lot of times I have a student in the program we're talking about, and I do think, okay, on a day I'm feeling good, it's like, yeah, I've got to be saved today. God has saved me. And then in the moments where I'm like struggling with, that's the language we've cultivated here. It's not like I'm bad today. It's that I'm struggling. I'm a human being. Ooh, God has made me perfect.
Yeah,
and
come
I'm
on.
being
For how
made
long?
holy forever.
Really? Forever?
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
so-
what the Bible
wait a
says.
second. Are you telling me the Bible says you're perfect?
Yes, it does.
Hey,
You might
anybody-
just earn yourself
listen,
a
does
Bible
anybody
badge
disagree
here.
that the Bible says you're perfect?
Actually, let's read it.
Yeah, like this is the
Where is
greatest
that
hidden
found?
verse ever.
Hebrews 10:14.
Yeah, I wonder if you knew that reference. I wonder if that
She's
might be
never
Pastor
heard of it
Tyler's
before.
favorite verse.
Hebrews?
Okay.
Hebrews what? Coffee?
Yeah.
Hebrews
Hebrews 10:14. If you have your Bibles or
My
your
mom told
memories.
my dad, Hebrews, he makes the coffee.
Yes. This is yes.
We may have heard that one a time or two last year.
Never.
This is my first time.
It's because Mervin didn't live here.
All right. It says, "For by one sacrifice he has made perfect forever those who are being made holy."
Now, that word perfect literally means complete, lacking nothing. Think about that. He has made you complete forever as you're now being made holy, as you're now being cleansed.
Okay. Now that a lie that keeps popping into my head when I read this verse now. Okay, now we get to God has made me perfect forever. But I'm still being made holy.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not pure yet.
Okay, but
Because I know, But that's the lie that my brain tells me. It's like, okay, there's still so much work that needs to be done.
I'll help you. I'll help you understand that. Okay?
Yeah.
So Jesus always talked in parables for a reason, right? Because our brain needed some sort of semblance of a story to understand a story, right? And so if I gave you Mervin's coffee cup right now, is that a complete coffee cup?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's a complete cup.
But it's dirty.
Yeah.
What does the coffee cup need to do in order to be more of a coffee cup? Why not? It's dirty.
Well, it was
Still a cup,
made
though.
into a cup.
Does it need to be cleansed? Because it's dirty?
Yeah.
Yeah? How come it needs to be cleansed? It's full of germs. It's full of things that won't contaminate it, but will contaminate others around it.
Judy's.
Right? If he sneezes on that cup, do you drink from it? Or do you tell the cup, hey, go clean yourself up? Hey, cup, be more of a cup. No. You take it, you wash it, then you drink from it. You enjoy it. But we keep trying to be more of a cup.
That's
You're already a complete cup.
Parable. Yeah.
Sorry. Like, that's just the way it is. It's never going to be less than a cup. It's just a cup.
Yep.
It's not even a cracked cup. We think we're a broken cup. We think we're a broken cup, and what he's doing is gluing us back together. But that's actually heresy, guys. Because the Bible says the old is gone, not remade, and we are now brand new.
New creations in Christ.
Yeah.
Right?
I was looking for that for 45 minutes.
You were what?
I was looking for that verse for
Oh, yeah?
45 minutes.
Yeah, did you
And
find
Tania
it?
Googled it.
Yeah, listen, Google knows my Bible very well when I tell it what I'm looking for. Otherwise it doesn't know it at all.
2 Corinthians 5. 17.
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. But no, I was thinking about this the other day, actually, this mindset of our brokenness, right? Because in that same context, it's hard to wrap your head around. Okay, so I'm not the old me, and yet somehow there's still work to do. There's still growing to happen, okay? But we need to look at it more from a sapling perspective, a little baby tree, than we do from an old dead car. We think in terms of an old dead car that needs to be repaired so it runs again, right? Or that it runs better, or that it runs whatever appropriately. But it's more like a tree. When you're a baby tree, you still have growing to do. Why? Because you're not strong as you could be. You're not as strong as you could be. And every year of growth makes you stronger and stronger and stronger. And then the wind and the waves can't penetrate you. It can't blow you over. It can't, like the whippersnipper doesn't cut you down anymore.
That's a really good example. Because
Right?
a sapling is still a tree.
Still a tree.
And
Still a
the
tree.
nut is still a tree.
For sure. Right?
Tree.
So the nut dies,
That's really cool, actually.
right? So an oak tree nut. Whatever, I'm sure. Acorn.
Thank you.
Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
An oak nut.
Okay, no, fine. You know what? Fine. A walnut
Nice.
turns into a walnut tree.
It turned into a cherry tree.
Does it?
No.
I was like, wait a second. Did you tie me up there?
Yes.
No, because you get
very good with trees.
Oh my god.
you get wood that's walnut. Okay, now listen.
Show your face.
You can eat a walnut.
In general.
Okay, you can eat a walnut and destroy it.
Yeah.
And destroy it forever. Or you can kill a walnut and have it grow into a walnut tree.
Hey. Yeah.
Wow.
Seeds have to die before they grow.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh
But-
my gosh, what?
But once it starts growing,
Wait,
you
is
don't
that
want to
right?
eat it
Am I
anymore.
wrong?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
that's
you're
right.
right.
Okay.
You're right.
Right? Once it dies and starts growing, fresh life. What was dead, because it was dead, it was inanimate.
Well, that's good.
When it died in the ground, it sprang to life afresh. But when it first started growing up out of the ground, if you didn't know any better, you didn't treat it properly, your lawnmower goes over it, and what happens? right?
Yep.
And so,
I got a good visual.
however, 2 years later, if it's protected for 2 years, the lawnmower can't touch it. Now you need a chainsaw. Or you need clippers, and then you need a chainsaw, and then you need something more than a chainsaw. You need a bigger chainsaw, or you need a sharper chainsaw, or you need.
Yeah, it's like, I bet, yeah, well, from my perspective, the lawnmower is the enemy.
Yeah,
If you're
for
a
sure.
little seed and you're vulnerable and you're not, you don't know about your own authority or what Jesus says about you, he'll just mow you down.
Yeah.
But then the bigger you get, your roots go deeper, and no matter what the enemy throws at you, he'll have to use more and more
There's a
tactics, and it
promise.
just won't work.
There's a promise in there. What's the promise? They'll never pluck you from his hand. Nothing.
So,
Or what does Paul say? I'm convinced that neither death nor life, nor demons or angels, like nothing can separate me from the love of Christ. Nothing. But it's our responsibility to make sure the soil is fertile so that the roots can grow deep, so that the lawnmower can't touch us. It's got to run away from us. Because I guarantee you, if you're cutting grass in front of a full-grown tree, the tree's going to win every time. The blade's going to get damaged. The wheels are going to get bent. It can't do nothing.
The
It
human
can't do
being might
anything.
get hurt.
Yeah.
So then, my question is, how do our roots go deeper?
cool thing about
That's a
trees.
good question.
Cool thing about trees.
Yes.
So, trees
If you hit them with your forehead, they cause concussions.
well, of course, yes.
How much force exactly did it take for him?
Couldn't tell that.
He doesn't remember.
I said it was something last year.
But what about trees?
Cool thing about trees.
So,
Yeah.
trees have
I
something
wasn't
called a
told, yeah,
taproot.
you told me about it.
A
A taproot.
A taproot is double the length that the tree is long.
Oh, that's great.
And trees shoot out like a tree down below, but the roots going this way go double, and the taproot goes straight down double. So if you blow it over, it's just gonna grow back because it's hitting the living water beneath the soil.
It's actually pretty crazy.
That's
You
why
cut down a
it's
tree and it just starts regrowing right away. We've had so many dead trees up here that fall over. Literally, ants have like eaten the nutrients out of the inside, and they die. They look completely dead. You cut those things off, they instantly start growing a whole bunch of new leaves and branches and stuff. It's insanity. You have to grind that out. You have to dig that out. You got to do everything you can to kill a tree.
Grinding
Once
stumps
it's
is a lot of
full.
work.
This brings to mind the story of the sower and the deep roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question you asked. How does one grow deep roots? It's
How
like.
does that one start?
Sorry?
How does that parable start?
Oh yeah, so there's the most intriguing thing about the story someone brought to my notice is that they were saying this is a very careless sower who just knows who in their right mind who's trying to get a harvest would throw seeds on the path.
Yep.
Why would a sower do that? And it really gives us a picture about how Jesus is. He sometimes knows that people will come to him, but he tries anyway. But anyways, that's besides the point. We do see seeds thrown everywhere. We have the ones in the path that are eaten by the birds. Then we have the ones that are thrown to the rocky grounds. Then we have the one thrown to the ground that it grows, but then we have thorns that choke up the plants. Then we go to the one that goes into the fertile soil, grows and then produces fruits of different multitudes. Or
30, 60, or 100?
Sorry?
30, 60, or 100
Yes.
times?
You have the verse there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, read it.
Mark 4, 13. And I'll just read the interpretation. Then Jesus said to them, "Don't you understand this parable? How then will you understand any parable?" Here's the important part for me. The farmer sows the word. How do you grow deeper roots? Open your heart to the word. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God. Period. So you sow into yourself, really, by listening to the word. And the more you sow, the more important that is too, the more you ingest, the deeper and deeper things go. And it's not just deceiving ourselves by merely listening to the word, but do what it says. Do not deceive yourself by merely listening to the word, but do what it says, right? And so he goes on to say, so the farmer has now sown the word. So now here's our responsibility in this. Some people are like seeds along the path where the word is sown. As soon as they hear it, Satan comes and takes away the word that was sown in them. Others, like seeds sown on rocky place, hear the word and at once receive it with joy. Hallelujah. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. Still others, like seeds sown among thorns, hear the word. But the worries of this life, the deceitfulness of wealth, and the desires for other things come in and choke the word, making it unfruitful. Others, like seeds sown on good soil, hear the word, accept it, and produce a crop. Some 30, some 60, some 100 times what is sown. So there's the roadmap. How do you be good soil? You need to hear the word, and you need to accept it as truth. To accept it as true, you got to put it into practice. That's what it looks like. I know who I am, and I know who's leading me now. And then your roots grow deeper and deeper and deeper as you start producing one apple, and then you go, wow, I produced an apple. Wow, that was pretty fun. I'd like to produce 10 apples now. I'd like to produce 100 apples.
You talked about that parable last year, and it was really freeing for me because I always thought that parable was like when you get saved, this is basically what happens to all people when they get saved. But you put it how it's an ongoing occurrence, not just a one time.
Yeah.
That's like every time you hear a message or whatnot, it's all seeds that go everywhere.
For sure.
And it all depends on how you receive it.
It's a very, like for a teacher like myself, it's a very freeing parable. It's not my responsibility for that seed to grow. Right? I'm not a seed grower, I'm a seed thrower.
One plants the seed, one waters the seed.
So it's your responsibility what happens to that seed inside of you, whether you're paying attention or not. Whether you're here to check a mark and say, oh, look how spiritual I am, I went to a young adults weekend. Or whether you're hungry for the word because you want to learn from the master. I don't mean obviously, you know.
So you said that, did you mean just for yourself personally? That it's not your responsibility to make sure it grows, or for everybody?
Well,
Because
it says this.
there's people that sow a seed,
Yep.
and there's people that water the seed,
That's
and then there's
true.
people that reap the harvest. So I think
That's true.
different people are called to different
But who
things.
makes it grow?
Well, the Lord does.
So it's not my responsibility to make it grow.
Yeah,
Ever.
but you can water it.
For sure. Of course.
Yeah.
How do you water it?
Speaking encouragement, life,
The
praying for them.
the same way you start that seed. You take care of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Same way. So my responsibility is to manage me all day by constantly living out the kingdom in front of people. Not just with my words, but also with my deeds. But I can't control whether that seed grows or not. A lot of pastors and leaders burn out from the pressure of people are dying around me. Well, they're dying around me, not necessarily. I mean, of course we have to, as teachers, we got to really make sure that we know what we're doing. Like in the heart posture of doing it. We can't just be like, whatever, irresponsible. You know, we have to be stewards of our flock, but at the same time, the flock have to eat. I can take sheep to grass all day long. If they won't eat, they won't live. And there won't be anything, I can't just hold them down and open their mouth and jam grass down their throat. It won't work.
In both ways, there's, like, you have to take the theory and you have to turn it into truth. And truth is walking it out. So as a teacher, you teach theory and show the truth of the theory that you're teaching. As I'll just say student, you receive theory, but it doesn't become truth for you until you actually walk it out, until you actually put it into practice and see the plus this equals truth. All of this knowledge lines up to truth. Otherwise, you're just throwing a bunch of knowledge around.
Well, what did Troy say the other weekend? Troy Reeves. He said, I can't remember what the pre-thought was, but the post-thought was knowledge applied. Not just knowledge ingested, but knowledge applied.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so our goal isn't to hear the word and store up a bunch of stuff. A bunch of memory verses and a bunch of awesome stories, and I know all these facts about Moses and Ruth and all these people and Ezekiel and Hezekiah and whatever, right? The goal is to take all of that stuff and learn to apply it to our own reality, so that we're the cleanest cup we can be. While the world's around us, spitting on us, and pouring coffee down our throat, you know, and carrying us around and abusing us. I want to stay a coffee mug.
Yeah.
I want to stay the cleanest one I can be. You know, while I still live in a world that's impure.
Okay, so on the topic of purity, once again, that question was like how, I had a question, was it how to grow roots? Yeah, it was how to grow roots, but I think that when we grow our roots deeper, we are, well, I'll just read Psalm 51, because it
It's good,
instantly
yep.
came to me. I was
Yep,
like, okay,
it's
Lord,
awesome.
and I turned to it, and it's,
Yep.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Created me a clean
Wow.
heart, O
Yeah.
God, yeah, and renew a steadfast spirit in within me.
Yeah, it says,
We might have been talking about Psalm 51 all week this week.
This week.
Yeah.
really?
In
Yeah.
life, yep.
So it says, so this is what I believe is the key to, because you can't, can you work to be pure or no? You can't really. You're just, are you just pure in Christ? But
So-
you have to take care of, you have to take care of your
I'll give, once you're done reading that,
Okay.
I'll give you Philippians 2:12 and 2:13, and it'll help you with that thought.
Okay, because my thoughts are all over the place.
That's
right now.
good. Welcome to
So it
class.
says, have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love.
Yeah, come on.
According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin.
Yeah.
For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned, and done what is evil in your sight. So you are right in your verdict, and justified when you judge. Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me. Yet you desired faithfulness even in the womb. You taught me wisdom in that secret place. Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. I don't know what hyssop is.
Is it?
It's a tree something.
Yeah, it's like
It's
a,
from a tree, and it cleanses you, right?
it's like soap.
But,
Yeah, so Jewish stuff. Jewish stuff.
they use
Stuff.
the Hebrew side of it.
Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sins. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquity. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit.
You know the
within
hymn?
me. No.
Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me, and cast me not from my presence. Yeah, it's a hymn. It's awesome.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
We rehearsed, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow.
This part is highlighted in here, which is cool because I don't remember reading this stuff recently, but create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Do not cast me from your presence or take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me.
Yeah, come on. To sustain me.
Do you want me to read the rest?
No, it's okay. That's good. Now, do you want to understand who's doing the work?
the Lord is.
Yeah? Do you have a part to play?
Yeah.
Do you know what Philippians 2:12 says?
No.
I'll start it, you'll finish.
You do
Yes,
know
you
what
do.
Philippians 2:12 says.
I
I'm
don't
sure-
know.
But
I'll start
Me
it, you'll
too.
finish it.
I don't know. Don't do this to me. Because I've only just been reading my Bible, not even
Work out your salvation with fear and trembling.
Right.
Yeah. What's that sound like to you? When I say
Fear
the
of the
very
Lord.
okay, when I say work out your salvation with fear and trembling, what do you think that means?
I think it means take it seriously.
Okay. So who's doing the work?
You're asked to do it.
Were you commanded to work out your salvation with fear and trembling?
Yeah.
Oh, you were. Oh, okay. So this is how that verse actually starts.
But then how do you know?
Oh, just wait. It's called a
That's a
comma.
good question.
It's called a comma. There's not a period on that verse, even though that's the verse that everybody quotes as if there's a period. So I'm going to actually read the whole verse, and then I'm going to read the very next verse for you. Okay? Therefore, my dear friends, as you've always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, comma. For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purposes. You can't even work out your salvation without it.
That's why you ask, create in me a pure heart, O God. Give me a willing spirit.
Because it's like,
You gotta ask.
it's like, so here's the beautiful part about this is, I was always taught that God helps me do the behavioral things, but I had to muster the will for things, right? Like, I had to desire good things. And so when I didn't desire good things, then I felt like a failure, and I felt like I had to do that before God could get involved in my life. But then this verse says, for it's God who works in you to will and act. He actually even gives me the will to do the good things.
Yeah.
So all I actually have to be, if you really want to grow roots, all you have to do is want to. You don't even have to want to. God, it's a good thing for me to read my Bible. So I want to do that. I don't want to just read my Bible. I want to desire to do that. I want to desire to pray. I want to desire to teach. I want to desire to grow deeper. And we can even ask him for that.
Yeah. I remember when we started talking about this, I was just really going through the book of Jeremiah. And how the people are losing everything, and it's because of their rebellion, right? That's why they're just not getting anything good. But I remember God saying he's gonna remove their hearts and make a new one. And that's exactly what David is saying. Create in me a clean heart. It's like, it's even about the death and life. And about the car again. It's like we're thinking God is reviving a new car. No, it's like a new person, a new mindset that's being made in us. And I think it's really cool that I'm not the old person anymore. God is creating this new person. I'm complete. It's not about
I'm complete.
it's not, he's created this new person in me. So yeah.
The challenge with all this comes down to, in everything we've said, it comes down to who's the Lord of your life. Like, that's what it really comes down to, guys. Like, it's not how many precepts you can follow or how spiritual you are or how good you are. What it really comes down to always is the same thing. Who's your master? Right? It's even in, was it you, Anna, that quoted the one that you'll love the one and hate the other? You'll be devoted to one, you'll despise the other. It comes down to what is your master. When God is your master, you will love him and be devoted to him. When something else sets itself up as master in your life, it will be very difficult for you to love him and be devoted to him because it'll be opposite of him. He'll never let anybody else take his place in our lives. You only get one pop-up.
And in addition to what you were saying, I think there are times where there are other things. For example, sleep. Sleep was my master for a long time. I love to sleep. And
Have we broken that?
we're almost there.
Okay.
Anyways, and it's
No, it's been so cool just watching you, because even you think of like something simple like that, and at the beginning, like, what? I have to. What? When do I get to sleep? and now it's like, okay, I got this.
yes, it's going good. But it's like I was really challenged with the idea that this thing is my master. Okay. It's okay, there's this language we use in Nigeria where we say I say this bad thing all the time. The language is this thing don't master me. That's what they say. It's like this thing has become Lord over my life. And I realized that that's part of our language, and it was actually some roots issues. You don't realize that the habits you're creating has become your master. It's now the Lord over your life. And it's like sometimes you're in the mindset, I want to change, I want to become good. Not good. I'm struggling with letting go of this habit, even though God has made me a new person. This old thing is still here. And then I just remember a few nights ago, I just sit and I think, God, I'm struggling with this, so I'm going to make ways to become a better person. And then the next night, I forget all the methods that I've created. And then I realize it's actually God who is just helping me go through this, because all the methods I've tried, they are not working. It's only God who can help you. So I think I also think of spiritual warfare.
Yep.
Where does that play in creating a new heart? No, not creating. In growing from a seed to a tree. What are your thoughts on that? Spiritual warfare. How does that help us grow from a seed to a tree?
You want to jump into that now?
Oh!
You want to start spiritual warfare conversation right now?
I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't know if we want to go till midnight or not.
I didn't realize we had gone this far. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We can talk about it another day. I think spiritual
Changing your mind on us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Another
It is a
day.
good thought to ponder.
It's a good thought in all this, but guys, honestly, the thing I want you to really be mindful of is God's not asking you to be perfect.
Amen to that.
He did that on the cross. What he's asking you to be is willing. Right? Like, Romans was very clear on what makes you saved. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, meaning he's your master. Confess with your mouth, make agreement with him. You get to lead me, because doing it my way, I've realized, is not very good. So I want to do it your way. And believe in your heart that he was raised. Because if he was raised, I'm going to be raised as well. That's the general testaments of faith. And where we get messed up all the time is when we say faith, I have faith that he existed. I have faith that, what? Go ahead.
Keep going. I didn't interrupt.
No, it's okay. Where we get messed up is this definition of faith. What am I trusting in? And we say, I have faith in God, without defining what that means. What do you have faith in him for, exactly? Most of the times that the disciples are rebuked for having a lack of faith was because they didn't go to him for the problem. They went to him in fear of the problem. He's laying in a boat, and the squall's around him, and they go to him and they say, Jesus, don't you care that we're about to die? And he instantly says, be quiet, be still to the storm. And he looks at them and says, guys, where's your, you don't trust me to be for you and protect you? You don't trust me? Where's your faith? Who are you trusting in? And so what often happens in this whole, grand scheme of things is it comes down to a matter of who's your master. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Am I my own master? Am I just trying to make it up as I go along, or fake it till I make it, or be good enough when the master already said I was good enough? You know, am I just trying to get God to like me so that I get into heaven? Which is not making him master. That's making him slave driver, making him taskmaster maybe. But he declares that that's not who he is. He's a father. He loves you. He doesn't want slaves. He wants children to take care of. What's the greatest thing a father does? Is protect. Calls himself the good shepherd. He's the protector. What's your thought?
Well, this whole time I was pondering in my heart. I was like, Lord, I want to know, like, what truly is purity. Because I've been asking, God, we're made whole with Christ. We're new creations. And then he was like, Psalm 119. I was like,
That's a very long time.
yeah.
I hope he was specific.
No, it's highlighted.
Okay,
It's
good. Because I was
highlighted.
going to say we might be here till midnight.
Psalm 119:9.
Nice.
119:9. How can a young person stay on the path of purity?
Mm.
By living according to your word.
Oh my goodness.
It's a path.
No,
Purity's a
the
path.
verse you're. Go on. I will when you're done.
What? Okay. And to seek, it says, I seek you with all my heart, and do not let me stray from your commands. You've got to be willing as well, but also I think a big part of staying on the path of purity is to ask the Lord for help.
And to do it his way.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect,
Living according to his word.
you can't expect to do it the world's way and get kingdom results.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't. But that's kind of what we want. We want to do it the world's way with kingdom results.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. That's why he gives us a different roadmap.
A pine tree is not gonna make a pineapple.
That's true.
Are you sure?
Well, I am definitely.
Have you
Definitely-
tried?
what-
Have you tried?
Have you tried, Mirsky?
We want to know.
They don't grow in Canada, so.
But in addition to it, in my heart, it's been to share the verse we read, Romans 12, verse 1 and 2. Let's go to verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And then, no, don't stop. Don't
okay.
stop.
Then,
There's a promise. But
Very
listen,
good.
there's this sweet promise at the end of that verse.
Yes. It is.
Sweet promise.
Yeah, it is. Then you will be able to test and approve. What God's will is. Is good,
Yeah, come on.
pleasing, and perfect will.
So how many people have sat in spaces of wanting to know God's will?
What he wants.
God, what do you want? 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 Right? And so we do this. We say, God, what do you want? But Romans gives us this different roadmap. Right? It starts off with, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, for this is holy and pleasing to the Lord, true and proper worship. Then it says, so the first thing is giving yourself completely over to Him. And then not conforming to the pattern of this world, but being transformed by kingdom mindset. The good news of the kingdom, not the bad news of the kingdom. Most times we just talk about the bad news. Bad news is you got to give up a bunch of stuff. Anybody ever hear that gospel message? Mm-hmm. The good news is you're going to heaven. But it comes with strings, because you got to give up everything that you've ever enjoyed. That actually sounds like bad news. No, the good news is we're going to heaven. But the even better news is we can have so much better things here already. We can live in our eternity now. And what the world has to offer pales in comparison to what He has to offer us.
It's like we really just don't know what is good to begin with.
It's true.
And it's like He needs to give us a new reorientation of what is good in life.
It's true.
We've been up a long time. We can wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You pray for us, Zino?
I will.
Yeah, come on.
Precious God, I thank you that you've known us from the beginning of time, that you've known us before we could compute thoughts, before we could have ideas, that you've known the mistakes we would make, and that we knew you would save us from them. God, tonight I pray that you help us rest in the assurance that nothing can pluck us from your hands. That if we will say yes to you, that we never have to struggle on our own, that we can always look to you and you'll be our Savior, because that's who you've always been, our Savior. You've always walked beside us and walked with us in our journey. And so, Jesus, I pray tonight, as we all go to our rest, that you help us recommit our hearts to submitting to you and submitting to your will. Just saying yes. Yeah. And just being vulnerable and just be like, yeah, God, I'm messing up. I'm struggling. I can't do this on my own. I need you, God. Help us say we need you. Let us realize the frailty of our humanity. We can never do anything by ourselves. God, I thank you for everyone who's there. For Kiona, for Anna, for Kylie, for Marissa, for Daniel, for Vince, and for Marvin. God, I thank you that you know them. You know their hearts, you know their struggles, you know everything going on in their minds. Things that were not said, not spoken, not shared. God, you know what's going on in their hearts. So Jesus, I pray that you help them turn to you and bring it all to you and just say, God, I need you. Help us sleep
Yeah, come
well.
on.
Bless our
Jesus.
tomorrow. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for joining us tonight. If you came on Facebook or watching it later, see you tomorrow. 9 a.m. Bright and early.